I am Butler Eagle Sports writer Derek Pida, and here with me today are fellow sports writer Brendan Howe and Eagle Sports editor Jake Murda Adams. This is Season 2 of the Alter Eagles Eye on Sports. All right, so the high school football games are over with, but this week we are honoring our Sweet 16 offense and Sweet 16 defensive all-stars. Offense appeared in Monday's paper.
Yep.
Defense in Tuesday's paper. Of course, this podcast is not dropping until Thursday, but we're going to talk about the guys, the players in the county who we recognize as all-stars. Starting off with the Sweet 16 offense. That's you, Jake.
Yeah, it was we'll talk a little bit about the discussions that we had for both teams, I think, but it was an interesting discussion with the offense because before we get into the list, we had 1 million running backs to choose from this year, and we couldn't fit them all in. This would have been a Sweet 16 of just running backs if we wanted to. But the 16 that we had first teamers on offense included quarterbacks Joe Felitsky from North Catholic and Karn City's Cole Johnston. We also had at running back 5 total picks this year. Freeport's Amos Glenn, who Brennan featured as our Eagle scoring trophy winner as well on Monday. North Catholic's Logan Shade, the Gremlins' Hunter Shearer, Union AC Valley's Logan Skibinski, and Mars's Aiden Yoakum. At receiver, we had 3, Mars's Gabe Hine, and then the Trojans' Preston Simcoe and Will Waskowitz. And in the offensive line, Mars's Adam Budzelik and Sean Franklin were on the team again, I believe second time for both of them. Freeport's Wade Patoknik and Karn City's Sean Sloganhoop. I'm going to get that wrong. Did I get that wrong?
I think we always get his name.
I think Sean, come on the show one day and just
it's Sloganhop.
Sloganhop.
There you go.
Come on the show one day, just call all of our names the wrong name just for payback. We're really sorry about that. Slippery Rocks, Jacob Reich was on it. Rich was also on it. And Seneca Valley's Tommy Wycheck was on the team as well. Pretty good roster. We have some guys that we'll talk about on defense who could have been considered strongly for offense, but thoughts from you guys initially on this team?
Well, there's just some numbers just punch you in the face, and it tells you this kid needs to be on this team, like Joey Felitsky. Mm-hmm. Did he not set the Whitbill regular season record for touchdown passes this year?
That's what I believe.
Was it 46? I think it was.
46.
Just crazy.
3 receivers, I think, had double-digit touchation receptions, which is nuts.
And 2 of them made our list. I believe one other one made our
defensive list. I think, right?
Honorable mention, I think.
Yeah, you might be right.
Riker Kennedy.
Yeah.
But as far as the running backs, Freeport's Amos Glenn won the scoring trophy with 162 points. And obviously what he's able to do as a running back is one thing. That can stand alone. He's that good. But he also had, 7 touchdowns this year on punt or kickoff returns. That might be some kind of record. I mean,
yeah.
I honestly, there's seasons I go an entire season without covering one punt or kickoff return for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. And he had 7 in 1 year. Pretty special year for Amos. And you talked to him. What did he – quiet kid, right?
Yes. My biggest takeaway from all of this is, especially Amos, I talked to him, and he doesn't have any college offers yet. Mm-hmm. Division III, Division II, Division I. His offensive coordinator, Don Henderson, said that he reminds him of Scoop Smith, who we know plays for Woodland Hills. He's going to Miami of Ohio. It really shows, and most of the kids on that list are the same, where they don't have any offers above Division II. Mm-hmm. It really shows the quality of player that plays at the Division II and Division III level. Someone that I think made our Sweet 16 last year, and Eric Kasparovich Jr., the Mars coach's son, mm-hmm. He's still playing for John Carroll at this point. I think they're in the lead 8 of the national tournament for Division III. And he was a great player in his own right. So it just shows people think on Saturdays that FBS, FCS is, and we'll talk some about college football later, but that those are like the only talented levels of football. But, I mean, I cover Division II also, where, like, those kids are really good football players. Mm-hmm. And we see them on Fridays, and everyone wonders, if they don't have a Division I offer, then no, they're not that great. But obviously they're pretty good, and Division III and Division II football are just as watchable as well.
And it seems like every year, I couldn't tell you that last year we didn't have a Karn City offensive lineman on first team, but when you're one of the guys up front, and Sean was, according to Coach Joe Sherwin, the best offensive lineman they had, mm-hmm. and you put up the kind of offensive numbers that they do, you have to represent the offense on with an offensive lineman because they just put up monster numbers year after year. This year, Cole Johnston, who made our team as a quarterback, he improved over last year as far as his passing, but he also ran for over 700 yards.
Yeah.
And you throw in Hunter Shear, who made the running back list there, Owen Higginbotham, Nathan Hess. I mean, the team averaged, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but
3,200 rushing yards they had for the season.
Okay, and they played, I believe, 12 games.
12 or 13.
So,
yeah.
Yeah,
that's crazy number.
Crazy numbers. And like I said, the two receivers from North Catholic, obviously Joey Felitsky belonged on that list with the number of touchdown passes, but if he's throwing them, somebody's catching them. And Preston, who's actually a Butler kid.
Yep.
And Will Waskowitz represented there for all the work they did on the receiving end. And Logan Shade, their running back, made it. So they had the passer, two receivers, and the running back make it. And when that happens, you know that their offense had a special year, and North Catholic certainly did.
I want you guys to go back to August 5th, let's say, and we're starting to put together our preseason Sweet 16s on offense and defense. Who was your biggest surprise that either wasn't on that list and made it now, or was on that list or was in consideration for it and beat your expectations going into the year? Mine, Cole Johnston. Did not have that kid being as good of a quarterback this year in his second year, full-time year as he has been. And not to say that we thought he was going to be bad, but he was really good. He led the team in running, in rushing yards and touchdowns, I believe it was, or was second on the team in touchdowns. I think 12 touchdown passes and 9 interceptions or something like that. Like just across the board improvement from last year. And with that improvement leads them to a District 9 title.
I think last year he combined rushing and passing for 17 touchdowns. This year I think it was 30. So 13 more touchdowns. I'm going to go with, a name that I knew, I recognized going into the season, but didn't see this kind of season for him coming as it turned out. Logan Shade. He had a monster game. I remember you did a feature story on him after he had a 300 plus rushing yards?
340 yards, I think.
Yeah.
Crazy. And Preston Simcoe, transferring from Butler to North Catholic, but he was going to be competing for passes with Riker Kennedy, who led the state in receptions last year, and Will Waskowitz, who had a really good year last season. We knew he was going to be catching passes, and Preston Simcoe ends up going down there and catching over 1,000 yards worth of passes, which for a high school season is a lot because, high school season, I think they ended up playing, 12 games? Did they win 12?
You're asking the wrong person to do math.
I think 12.
Yeah, we are so in basketball mode right now.
So,
I can't remember how long the football season lasted.
Yeah, for 1,000 yards receiving for one player in a high school season that's really special, especially when you consider that he had other guys on the team who were catching passes along with him. Riker Kennedy and Will Waskowitz, Preston Simcoe, great season. I would say those are the top two for me. Two North Catholic kids, Logan Shade running the ball and Preston Simcoe putting up the numbers he did in the receiving game.
13 games for the Trojans. Brendan, who was your biggest surprise?
So we knew that Mars was going to run the ball a lot, but I'd seen Aiden Yoakum basically, I think, since he's a freshman, kind of mop-up duty or getting a carry every now and then for the star running backs that had in the past. I didn't expect him to have the season that he did where I think he led the county in rushing
1,700
by far.
plus yards, yeah.
And it, again, kind of shows next year's going to be a year, I feel like, just looking at our Sweet 16 teams where it's a lot of seniors, it's a lot of older guys. It's going to be a year where we walk into the season, we're like, who are like our stars coming in the season. A lot happens in the weight room in the off season, and kind of as those players bump up from their backup roles to being a starter, just kind of come out of nowhere. Amos Glenn was another one of those guys. So I don't think that we'll be missing stars when we start football next season.
Can you guys, so when we go into this, I specifically have told you guys in past like all-star voting meetings that we have of don't just make it about seniors. Like we will admittedly like weight it a little bit if two guys are pretty close, like, okay, tie goes to the senior or tie goes to the older kid. But can you guess how many seniors were on this Sweet 16 offense?
Oh, wow.
I just did
I didn't
this.
look at that. 13.
14.
Oh, wow.
2 kids are juniors, Cole Johnston and Will Waskowitz.
someone's going to be tasked with doing the preseason all offense next year, All-Stars, and we're going to be like, huh?
Yeah, let me just double check my math on that, but I'm pretty sure there are 2 juniors, and that's it.
You can handle that next August. You can handle that.
But yeah, this was a good team. I think we had a surplus of talent on the, and this is the tricky part. Like, offense is where all of the stats are. We know who we're writing about, the running backs, we're writing about the receivers, we're writing about the quarterbacks every week. When we reach out to coaches, at least like when I do, I'm sure you guys do similar, we're telling them like, hey, tell us your offensive lineman. Like, please tell us your offensive lineman. Give us everything you can, because we don't get pancake blocks. We don't get like, what the percentage, blocking rate is or success rate is or anything like that. And even defense is very similar, that not every team keeps stats the same way or has them readily available as they do, offensive skill guys. So I think all-star teams always kind of tilt towards the offense, but this was a really difficult year just by the fact that there are 2 running backs on this list that could have been on this list that we didn't name. And we might be getting to them, spoiler alert, in a minute. But any other thoughts that you guys had on this Sweet 16 offense? Surprises or things of note or anything like that?
We talked about the skill guys. Just because we were limited, it's Sweet 16, and we can't go past that. Sweet 18 just doesn't have the same ring to it. But we had a really strong group of offensive linemen who, if we wanted to add a few more of those, we could have thrown a few more offensive linemen on there. But only so many spots. We want to make sure that the kids that are honored with a spot on the first team, it really means something. And the offensive linemen, we could have extended that a little bit more, but we had some great quarterbacks, receivers, and running backs too. So we had to make room for everybody, and it's tough. It's tough in a year like this where we had so many good offenses, or even offenses that didn't put up the monster numbers like North Catholic did, like Carn City did. Mm-hmm. You could still have a star offensive player on there who you look at and say, man, he deserves to be on that team. So we tried to weigh a lot of things. Obviously, stats, great offenses. Okay, who's their best offensive lineman? I think we did a pretty good job. I feel like the selection committee in March, when it comes to, we know everybody's not going to be happy with it, but we think we did the best we had to work
I think
with.
we did better than the CFP committee, that's for sure.
Oh, we're going to be talking about that in a minute.
We might have some, some people out there might be disagreeing with the list a little bit. And like I'll say, too, we have to weight District 9, 10, and 7 against each other. We also have to weight classifications from 6 through 1 against each other. That's not like, in a lot of ways, yes, Seneca Valley probably has better athletes across the board than Montauk and Union AC Valley, and they have better facilities and everything like that. But we've got to put this on a scale a little bit and account for what weight class you're in. A 285-pounder in wrestling is going to crush a kid that's 106 pounds just because of weight. We get that part of it, but we still have to kind of take into account, success rate against what they are facing, who they play on their schedule.
I think we weighted pretty well, too.
Brennan, any other thoughts on offense?
I think there's a few guys that we didn't see on offense this year. In Mars's Colin Uriznik and Butler's Nico Baguetta that are going to make that list next year.
I like this. Way too early Sweet 16.
Yeah, at least those 2 guys.
You mentioned about, you said that we had 14 seniors on the offensive team. That's 2 names right there. Nico Baguetta and Colin Uriznik from Mars, who, as long as they're coming back next year, and there's no reason to believe they're not going to be playing football. That's 2 on the preseason Sweet 16 right there. Mark it down. You're doing it, so you can copy it.
Yeah, I want that January 1st, Brennan. Nico Baguetta was honorable mention offense, so congrats to him, obviously, too. Did want to make sure we didn't forget that while we were talking.
He helped get me a free Chipotle bowl that I'm going to get at some point here.
I'm surprised that you didn't advocate for him harder on the first team then.
So Jake worked with the offense, putting that together. I had the defense, and I'm just going to start up front in the trenches where it gets dirty, and our players were able to have great seasons. A number of players, including defensive end Mason Bell from Carn City, defensive end Cole Troutman from Freeport, defensive end Ethan Krasinski from Mars, defensive end Kyle Mansing from Seneca Valley, and defensive tackle Colbin Elliott from Union AC Valley. Right behind them are the linebackers, and this is a very strong group, beginning with C.J. Emmerich from Carn City, Tom Arth from North Catholic, Dawson Gaylott from Freeport, Max Gallagher from Union AC Valley, Zach Dental from Mars, Carter Barris from Knock, and Jamison Garvin from Mars. And don't want to forget about that secondary. And as it turned out, we didn't know this right when we picked the team, but as it turned out, all these guys are safeties. That's just the way it works sometimes. Bryce Gallen from Carn City, Mark Clems from Butler, Tyson Pino from Butler, and Owen Long from Slippery Rock. Did you find the decision-making process as far as who should be on first team as difficult for defense as you did offense?
I don't think so quite as much. I think in part because, we looked at some guys that were probably quality Sweet 16 picks on offense before. We did offense first when we were going through the voting. And we're like, okay, these guys might make more sense on defense for one reason or another. So we had kind of started to slot some guys in and then just kind of had to fill in the gaps. There was a lot of gaps, but we were able to fill in some of the gaps. It also tends to – there are more stars on the offensive side of the ball, I feel like, in high school football just in general, because the name of the game is score more points than the other team. So coaches are incentivized to put the best athlete at running back, the best decision maker at quarterback. And sometimes that means that they don't play defense. Not in every case, but sometimes they won't play defense just to save them. Joe Felitsky does not play defense. He's just a quarterback. Cole Johnson, meanwhile, he plays both sides of the ball, and some others do too. But I don't know. It feels like it's a little bit more cut and dry on the defensive side of the ball, and then you have guys like Mason Bell, who, like, we should talk about that dude. He's got 12 sacks, and he's a first teamer on boys soccer and football. We'll talk about the soccer and volleyball teams in next week's show, but they're coming out later this week in the paper. I think it's a little bit easier to figure out some of the defensive guys because I think there's a little bit fewer stars, and so you're able to zero in on some of them quicker. Some of
the decisions we have to make, it's made easier when we were going through the offense and we were looking at some of these numbers. And, we just talked about Logan Skabinski from Union AC Valley, a running back who had a great year, 1,180 yards, I think 18 touchdowns. He made our offensive team.
Yep. In preseason, yeah. And
we look at his teammate, Max Gallagher, who actually rushed for more yards this year and more touchdowns. You're saying, well, why isn't he on the offensive team? Well, he was named Region 3, District 9, Region 3 Defensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. So that made it easy for us to say, okay, yeah, he had a great year on offense, also a great year on defense. So when you have players who give you that flexibility, another guy from Union AC Valley who could have been on either team, Colbin Elliott, when you can put a guy on defense or offense, that makes our job easier because there's that flexibility there. And as we already talked about how tough it was to come up with 16 players on offense. When you have guys who are also legitimately deserving to go on defense, it makes our job a little bit easier. Brendan, you were in this meeting. What are your thoughts on the defensive side of the ball?
The thing with defense is when I'm taking stats, I'll try to track tackles. Usually it's like the first 4 plays and things just kind of roll and get fast from there.
I've never tried to track tackles. Honestly.
That is impressive.
When we look or whenever we vote on these teams, we see the stats. There was one case in which Tom Arth, I noticed late in the season, especially against Avonworth, they ran the ball away from him every single play. And that just shows, especially against a team that won the state title, that they're like, we don't have the guys to block this guy here. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's not even about stats. And like Jake says, it's so much about offense, and we're watching offense and how they score, who's making the play, that on defense, usually the only time that you're recognizing our story even is you make a big sack, you have an interception, you recover a fumble, you force a fumble. And forcing fumbles, sometimes it's in a pile and we can't even see. So it's a really interesting mix of we see the big stats, but then there's also guys who maybe don't have big stats because they're guys that the offense tries to avoid being around as much as possible. You don't want the ball around them. So, like we could have a defensive back that doesn't have 8 interceptions, or Bryce Gallen had 6, right? Like we could have a defensive back that doesn't get thrown at all season, and we don't know unless the coach tells us because we don't we're one person. We can't see everybody playing at once.
I'm glad you brought that up because there was a guy who made our Sweet 16 defensive team, I believe it was the last 2 years. He's now at, I believe, Toledo, Jaden Price for Seneca Valley. And when I talked to a former coach at Seneca Valley, Ron Butchley, the last 2 years, when it came time for us to gather information because our selection meeting was coming up, and he said, I think 2 years ago he had one interception. Last year he had one interception, Jaden Price for Seneca Valley cornerback. And you're thinking, okay, one interception, but as Ron Butchley explained, opposing offenses, just whatever side Price was playing on, they said, okay, we're not throwing over that. I mean, he literally took like that third of the field away when it came to Seneca Valley's defense and what they had to prepare for. They didn't even bother throwing his way.
Yeah.
So when you can have that kind of impact on a game where the offense is like, okay, this guy's playing over here, we're not going his way, that's very high praise in itself. It's a very kind of behind the scenes form of high praise because people watching the game, maybe they don't notice that, hey, they haven't thrown to the right side or they haven't thrown to the left side all game. But it is high praise. When a team treats a defensive player that way, it's absolutely, it's deserving, and that's why Price made the team the last 2 years. I just wanted to expound on your point there.
Expound.
Sorry, expand. I can't talk today.
I am. I'm going to try to kill some more time by deflecting again here and saying who's your surprises on defense. I'm trying to find a stat. I'm doing some hand math here.
My surprises on defense?
Yeah.
Let me see here. Probably, I'll tell you, Bryce Gallen.
Oh, yeah, that's a good call.
I honestly don't know if he started on defense last year in 24. I know he was one of their receivers. Of course, he actually led them in receptions this year. Mm-hmm. I recognized his name from last year. I think he caught maybe 7 or 8 passes all year. But the way he stepped up this year on defense, and they played some teams with some pretty good passing attacks,
Yeah.
Du Bois, for one.
Lit them up.
Yeah. I would say Gallen was probably my biggest surprise. A lot of these other names are, C.J. Emmerich. I knew he was good. Tom Arth. I didn't realize. I knew Tom Arth was a great athlete, and of course he played tight end on offense.
Yeah.
But when you gave me the note about Chris Rizzo said that teams literally just didn't run his way. It's kind of like the Jaden Price thing.
Well, that wasn't even something Rizzo told me. That's something I noticed. Watching the games.
There you go.
See, I got an eye.
You have 2 actually, but it's okay.
No, Arth sort of surprised me too because not because of his play, but we looked at him coming into the season. I wrote the story about his dad being the Steelers quarterbacks coach, and he's a guy that I remember we saw it. His name was Tom Arth. I was like, why isn't he playing quarterback? Then obviously Joey Felitsky's there, or Joe Felitsky, whichever way. Joe sounds so 45-year-old manish. Meanwhile, Joey sounds a lot younger. Obviously that's why he wasn't playing quarterback, but he had a few touchdowns as a tight end. He was a guy that they could dump the ball off to, like Darnell Washington, and rumble for a few yards. So I expect to see him. He has an offer from Slippery Rock. I expect him to see him at a high level on the next level.
Yeah, I actually think I put Tom Arth on my Sweet 16 offensive team to watch in August.
So
that's how many guys did we name offense or defense back in August that actually made our other team this year?
Derek,
look that up.
Derek, you're beating me by 5 seconds here. You need to stall for more time. I actually decided to do this, and I just finished. I think I have now.
Good.
I might have gotten someone wrong here. Was Troutman on our Sweet 16 defense this year?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Do you want to guess how many guys on offense in our preseason Sweet 16 offense made our postseason Sweet 16 offense? Just guess the total number.
9.
Brennan?
6.
10. Closest to the hole is Derek.
Thanks. What do I win?
Pat on the back. Tommy Wycheck, Slogan Hoop, Skabinski, Shear, Johnston, Felitsky, Hine, Glenn, Franklin, and Badzilik. There were 2 we named to offense. Artha's one of them that made our defensive team. Can you guess who the second one was?
Max Gallagher.
Nope.
Colvin Elliott.
Nope. Mark Clems.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mark Clemens.
So on defense, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total players that we named Sweet 16 defense in the preseason that made our postseason Sweet 16. 2 of them made offense, though. Can you guess the 2 that they were linemen? Can you guess the 2 that made our Sweet 16 offense in the postseason that we named preseason Sweet 16 defense?
Wade Patoknik.
1?
Yeah. That's mine. You go.
What was the question again?
Who did we name preseason defense that actually made our postseason offense? Patoknik was 1, and then the other is also a lineman.
Tell me what, Jeff.
Jacob Rich.
Jacob Rich. The defenders that we went 1 for 1 on were Troutman, Gallagher, Gaylott, Elliott, Dental, Barris, and Bell. I said that I wanted to talk about Bell. Bell is a Sweet 16 defensive lineman and a first team boys soccer player for us. That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's like, I know we did a story on him earlier this year, and I know we talked about him last year too, but that's crazy.
And he's also not just a soccer player, but he was their biggest scoring threat this year. We're going to talk about soccer next week, but he led the Gremlins with 14 goals this year, and a big imposing presence. I mean, it's not often you look out there and there's this guy who seems like he's twice as big as anybody else playing forward for a soccer team, but that was the case.
And defensive line. And then I hear soccer player playing defensive line, and I'm like, what?
I wonder if
he also played tackle for them on offense.
I wonder if he'll have any vested interest in Army Navy this Friday, being that he wants to go to the military academy.
Probably does.
I was actually thinking of writing a story here. These 2 kids go to Navy. They don't have stats for this year, but I wrote the story whenever they're committed. Remember Luke Lawson and Naden Lechek? They're at Navy. They must be like
That'd be
special
interesting.
teamers. Yeah.
I'm going to say Mason Bell is an early candidate for our male athlete of the year at the end of the school year. I mean, 2 District 9 titles, 2-time first team selection already. Does he run track or something in the spring?
Probably does something in the spring.
Yeah.
I know he skis, so we talked to him about
Yeah, he
that.
doesn't wrestle, I don't think.
He's a big skier.
Just don't crash into the chemical plants up there.
You and him could talk about World War II history.
Oh, absolutely. Mason, I'm going to give you my number. We can talk military history all day long.
Until the wee hours of the morning. So any other thoughts on Sweet 16? Defense, both sides?
That's all I got.
A game.
Hey, Roberta.
Oh, nice.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
I love the terrible towel there in the back.
Boo.
He's a Philly fan.
Boo, get out of here.
Yeah,
He
I'm from
had a good
Lehigh
night last
Valley.
night.
Yeah, I had a terrible
But
night.
I like your sweatshirt that you have on today, though.
Justin Herbert might have a worse night based on that.
You did not hear what she said, did you?
I had my headphones on.
Okay. She complimented your hoodie.
Thank you. I like this hoodie a lot.
Brendan's a Slippery Rock University graduate.
Yeah.
I think I graduated the year before you
Nice.
got
What
there.
year did you graduate?
2021.
Okay. Yeah, I started July 1 of 21.
Yeah.
So it would've been
By then
a
I
couple
was
weeks.
kind
Yeah.
of
Small world.
Thanks for joining us today.
He's trying to get bonus points.
We are joined today by Roberta Page, Slippery Rock University's athletic director and a former standout softball player with the Rock in the 1980s. The 2015 Rock Hall of Famer became the first female athletic director at SRU in 2021 after previous stops as the associate AD and later AD at Shippensburg and the NCAA director of championships. Roberta, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
First, a belated congratulations on being named to the Made in the PSAC Top 75 when the PSAC announced several Top 75 lists in the fall honoring its 75-year history. What was that honor like for you, being recognized in that way?
Well, anytime you can be recognized, obviously you're honored. I don't know anything else other than being in the PSAC. It's the only Division II conference I've ever been affiliated with. I am definitely biased towards the PSAC. I think we're a great conference. I felt that way when I was at the NCAA and I got to work with all 24, then 23 conferences. I just like what we represent, and to be recognized and honored in that way. I mean, it's an amazing feeling for me, and it was. I was honored. I mean, just, plain and simple. It just feels really great to be recognized in that fashion.
So there's been some big news out of your athletic office in recent weeks. Slippery Rock University is bringing back the men's wrestling program and launching women's flag football. What can you tell us about how this came together? Who has been involved in getting both of these off the ground?
Well, and thank you for recognizing that, because it is big news for us. I can tell you, probably since the first week I walked back here on campus, anytime you have somebody new in a leadership role, everybody comes out of the woodwork to tell you what you should do, what you should add, what you should get rid of. And I will tell you, the addition of bringing back some sports was definitely something that has been on the radar for a long time. Our previous administration was not against doing it. We just never saw it come to fruition. Probably the strongest alumni group, in all honesty, has been the alumni for wrestling. They are a group there was a strong group when I was here, the wrestling program, and they have been one group that has been adamant about, will you at least take a look at it, Roberta? Please take a look at it, entertain some things. And we did. Our president, Dr. Karen Riley, is very open, amenable to looking at providing opportunities for students. And so we looked at it. We met with that wrestling alumni group multiple times, and it made sense. It made sense from where they were coming from, made sense from where we were coming from. And so we took a really strong, hard look at it. And really what we wanted to look at is, how can we provide a 3-year runway for the university to say, listen, let's financially sustain it from the alumni base, and then let's do it for a couple of years, and then it'll be sustained, and then the university can take it over. And this alumni group for wrestling, very, very strong, very dedicated. I mean, anybody that knows Fred Powell, that was the coach back in the day when I was here, knows what dedication and what this sport means to them. So we were excited to look at wrestling. I will tell you honestly, we also we were going to look at opportunities on the women's side. There was a strong look at women's wrestling at the same time. We thought that made sense from an equitable standpoint, since we were going to have to buy, the mats and things of that nature. Did it make sense just adding women's wrestling as well? And women's wrestling a couple of years ago was on the rise. I think there were some high school programs that were started, some collegiate programs that were started. And so we looked at it and thought maybe that's the avenue that we should go down. But boy, all of a sudden, flag just took off like a lightning rod. And so we kind of shift our thinking a little bit and started looking at the opportunities that flag would present itself, and reworked some of our numbers. And it just made sense for us to look at providing those opportunities, about the same squad size numbers. So that's where we started looking at flag, and we thought that made sense for us. So that's where we're going to introduce both of those sports in 27-28.
You kind of touched on it with the roster size thing. So how much was Title IX compliance part of this whole equation?
I think you always have to look at that. I mean, we would be foolish not to look at that across the board, but it's more about providing opportunities. One of the things that we have not had to do here at Slippery Rock since I've been here is increase our roster sizes to keep our doors open. We're not in a spot like that because Slippery Rock is in a good place where we are financially. We just don't want to boost roster sizes so that kids are paying tuition. That's not what we're about right now. But we want to provide those equitable opportunities on the men's side and the women's side. And we're probably looking at about a squad size or a roster size on both sides right now. Ultimately, maybe about 25 on each side. And both of those sports give us that opportunity to do that.
So you said that the women's flag football, girls flag football, the high school level kind of taking off in recent years was a big factor in why you now are looking to adopt this program or form this program. I'm curious, what did you see when you were doing the analysis on that? like we're focused hyper on Butler County. We have a couple more girls wrestling programs right now because PIAA launched that a few years earlier, and flag is coming here in the spring. So we don't see the growth in flag football just yet at this level in this area. So what did you see that was different that said, okay, flag is the way to go, at least right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of the high schools you're seeing it down towards the Pittsburgh area, and from a national standpoint, I think in January when we go to the national convention for the NCAA, it's going to be voted on. I think once that is voted on at the NCAA level, you're going to see a lot of people to continue to add that program. The facility needs are lower than what it's going to do some of the other programs. I mean, we already have a turf field. We already have the scoreboard, multiple locations of which to do that. And I think it's just up and coming, even from an injury standpoint. There's obviously going to be less injuries in flag than there would be for tackle. So it made sense it's growing so fast right now. I think the NFL getting behind it is also intriguing. As you just saw, I think it was the Jets owner the other day donating $1 million into the flag. It's just opportunities that I think is just a little bit more enticing for young females, young girls coming up through the elementary, middle school, high school program. And I think you're going to continue to see that grow more at the high school level in the Pennsylvania area and our surrounding regional area as well.
You beat me to the punch by saying that you guys did talk about forming a women's wrestling program. So what is there a future down the line for women's wrestling at SRU?
I'll never say never. Because it's more about opportunities. And so once we get these two programs up and running and we take a look at it, maybe women's wrestling makes sense. But then again, to your question a few minutes ago, what would we do looking at Title IX? What other opportunities can we provide on the male side? I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that there was some conversation about looking at adding golf. Okay. At one point, and that was looking at men's and women's golf. Roster sizes are not really all that high in either one of those sports. Course location came into a big play with us here to provide a quality NCAA experience for them. So we kind of backed off just a little bit on the golf, but I wouldn't say either of those sports are off the radar moving forward.
What goes on behind the scenes with the two teams that you're adding to make sure that those teams are ready by the time they're supposed to kind of take the field or the
So what we wanted to do it the right way, and I'm not saying, listen, everything we're doing is the right way, but we want to hire our head coaches for those two sports a year early. So our goal is to next fall have coaches in line for the academic year to begin doing all the logistics of that program. And that includes recruitment of students. I just don't want to get 25 wrestlers that are already here on campus or flag football players. I want those coaches to go out and recruit and provide those opportunities for individuals coming out of high school to come onto Slippery Rock's campus. So within that next academic year, getting everything lined up. So boom, when we get to 27, the academic year 27, 28, we're ready for competition.
Yeah, what do you think you'll be looking for in those coaches? And has that process started where maybe you're thinking about that already?
Yeah, I think that 2 minutes after we made the announcement, I already had a couple of resumes for wrestling coaches, and I knew that was going to happen.
Anyone we know.
Just with the strength of the program, I knew that was going to happen with people wanting to get involved. I got a lot of nice remarks from even other coaches within our conference to say thank you. Thank you for bringing the sport back. It'll be competing against us, but we want to continue to see the sport grow. I've got some colleagues still at the NCAA that felt the same way. They just want to continue to see the growth. So immediately I was getting resumes. What are we looking for? And I figured that would happen. And on the other side, I already got some interest in flag football. Now, the interesting thing is not as many in that area, but there's not the big history with flag football, right? So you don't have that alumni base for flag like you do for wrestling because there is no alumni for flag. So the people that are going to be interested in coaching, I think, are people that are maybe coaching tackle, right now. You're seeing a lot of those folks coaching tackle and flag. And you see that right now across the country, even just locally right now. But I would estimate that we're going to get, once this is passed in January and once we start looking for it, we'll be inundated, I think, with folks that will express interest in coaching the flag.
Are there different skills or qualities with coaches? Maybe like you mentioned with wrestling, you kind of there's some background there. Flag, there's not. There's any qualities that or skills that you kind of look for in those coaches in those respective sports?
You know, well, regardless of what sport it is, whether we're bringing coaches in or starting new programs, I mean, we have a culture here that we want, you know, with the Rock. We want people to go out and recruit students that want to come here to get an education first and complement it with an amazing athletic experience. I want somebody that's dedicated to the Rock, because I think a lot of the folks that we have here have some sort of history at some point with Slippery Rock. I think the wrestling component, it's going to have to be somebody that can make a connection with that alumni base, because that alumni base is really, really strong. And I want this individual to have that connection, because that's going to be a huge supporting effort for that individual, whomever it may be. And then on the flag side, I want somebody that really wants to see young women grow up through the sport. I mean, we had flag football when I was younger. I mean, and that's a long time ago, and it was fun for us. I mean, we loved playing flag football in 6th grade because we didn't really have tackle unless you were going to play with all the boys. So it's really about getting that female athlete that really wants to come in and play flag. We've even had a lot of our current student athletes in other sports say, could I play both? I mean, it's one of those sports, I think, with flag that you could be just a really good athlete and excel at flag, is just being that athletic female that understands her body, understands athletics. You know, I'm not going to say it's not a contact sport, but it's going to be a contact sport. But it's just really, I think the newness is intriguing some of these young women. They're going to want to get involved in it. And I love seeing that growth coming out of the high schools for these women that are going to want to play.
Roberta, will the teams be competing, these new teams, in the PSAC, different conferences? Do you see flag becoming a PSAC sport in the future?
Yeah, that's a great question. So wrestling, yes. Wrestling, it will be part of the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference. I've already reached out to our commissioner, Steve Murray, to let him know, obviously, when the announcement came out. And the timing is great, because he's like, can you give me at least a year heads up so that we can start incorporating you, within the schedule. Right now, it is not a conference sport at the PSAC for women's flag. But that doesn't mean that the conference in and of itself cannot hold events to support those of us that will have flag on our campus. There are some local conferences that are already sponsored that we could look at being affiliate members, but I do think you're going to start to see some of our other PSAC schools want to offer flag because of the facility nature, because it is kind of a low budget sport with everything that goes into it that you're going to need to provide it. I do think we'll have some other conference schools within the PSAC begin to sponsor the sport. So ultimately, I hope down the road that it does become a PSAC sponsored event.
Is there something to wanting to be at the forefront of this at the D2 Western PA, Pennsylvania PSAC kind of level here of okay, we want to get out in front of women's flag as early as possible, kind of, put a stake in the ground here, get some attention from recruits, possible recruits coming in or anything like that?
I think you always want to be on the forefront of anything new, anything exciting. I'd love to say that we were the first within our conference to do that, but we weren't. But I think we're going to be the first that's kind of taking their time in doing it. So hopefully we're doing it the right way. I think some other people just immediately offered the sport because, like I said earlier, they need the numbers. They need people to come into their school. They need the enrollment numbers. And that is not why we're doing it. That has nothing to do. We're fine with our enrollment standpoint. We're fine within our athletic department. So when we really looked at what makes sense to add, it wasn't that we needed it. We wanted to do it to provide opportunity opportunities. But it will be exciting to be one of the schools that added it right away. And hopefully, we're going to be looking at kids in 27, 28. They're going to say, man, I was a part of that first year of something at Slippery Rock, and I get to be the first alumni group that comes out of there. So that is exciting to us for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned that you enjoy playing flag football when you're younger. Obviously, you grew up to play softball and basketball. Had this been available to you at the college level when you were a college athlete, would you have been interested in playing flag football?
100%. 100%. I love the sport of football. I love to watch it. I love to play it. I actually did play tackle when I was in 4th and 5th grade.
Wow.
And then we went into, I know, don't tell too many people.
Laura's cheering you on right now from the.
I love flag football. It's an opportunity for women to get involved in a sport that they love. Women love football. I mean, all you have to do is watch, NFL, watch the college level. It's not just men. I mean, women really love the game of football. They understand the rules of football, and this just gives them an opportunity to carry out a passion that they have for a sport that they love. And I'm sorry that I'm as old as I am, because I definitely would have loved to have been a part of it, and I think it's exciting to see it up and coming.
Roberta, where are you from originally? Where'd you grow up?
Greensburg, Pennsylvania.
Greensburg. I'm from Connellsville. Right down 119.
Yeah,
right down 119.
Greensburg-Salem.
Awesome. I went to Connellsville, class of 96.
Yeah.
The sports down there, other than wrestling, are struggling pretty mightily now. Other than wrestling.
Yeah.
What's it?
Okay.
You mentioned talking like Fred Powell's name earlier, and we've had conversations with Scott Stoner, the Butler High coach, for the last year or so, a little bit about, like, he's kind of been tipping us off that this might be coming for the last, 12 months or so, and it got obviously serious in the last few months. So tell us, like, what's it been like? Give us the inside secrets here of dealing with Scott Stoner and talk. We like him. He's been on the show, friend of the show and stuff like that. But, like, what's it been like dealing with some of these SRU alumni that are also Butler, coaches and things like that, and they've been advocating for this program for 15, 20 years?
And I'm going to say this in the nicest way. I don't mean any ill in when I say this. Sometimes I have to have them pump the brakes a little bit because they do get very excited. They get overzealous. And you know what? I wouldn't want it any other way, because if it was on the other side, if it was on the contrary, I'd worry. Mm-hmm. But so sometimes, we're even putting together an FAQ document with all of the questions that are coming in for whether it's a student athlete, whether it's somebody that wants to coach here, whether it's an alum that's already thinking they're recruiting for us. We've put together a document so that everybody is speaking the same language and that it's actually coming from us. I don't want to treat this any differently than we would any other sport, any other search, any other funding, any other anything, because I want it to fit in to what I think is a good athletic program. So I sometimes have to tell them, pump the brakes a little bit, guys. I promise you, it's happening. We've already announced it, but just kind of let us do our thing. And I do think it's gonna be exciting. I was actually thinking yesterday when I was thinking about this, what that first competition night's going to be like. Mm-hmm. Because I do think the alumni are going to celebrate this to the point they're going to want to pack the house. And that'll be exciting, because other than with men's and women's basketball in the winter, which we can host games here, men's and women's indoor track, we can't host an event here. So having just that other event for wrestling in here in the winter on those off days when we don't have basketball games, I envision this packing the house because it's such a big sport here. There's such a rooted alumni base. They're going to come out and support this. And then I ultimately hope I see the same up in the spring when we have our women's flag. People are going to be like, I've never seen this before. I want to come out just because I don't know what to expect. And so I'm hoping that we'll continue to get that fan base on both of those sports, which is, from an athletic director standpoint, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Some great
They
conversation.
even want to know if the cheerleaders are coming.
Okay, so when are the cheerleaders coming?
They're like, will we have cheerleaders at wrestling? And I said, our intent is sure. I mean, it's a different mentality. Cheering at a basketball game versus a football game versus a wrestling match. But we had them in high school. I mean, the cheerleaders did come. They know what they're doing. So I'm like, of course we would want the cheerleaders there.
Roberta, I got a counter proposal for this. You have to tell the wrestling team that they have to go cheer for the flag team.
I love that. I love that. I mean, I would want nothing else. You know what I mean? So it would. It's exciting. It's exciting time when guys, when you look at all the negativity that you're hearing in sports right now, and all of the unfortunate things with school closures, schools dropping this, scores can't afford this, and we're at the opportunity. We're adding. I mean, that if that doesn't make you smile, I don't know what is going to make you smile. So I really do credit the leadership here at Slippery Rock, because it wasn't something that just happened overnight. This has been in the works, and President Roundley finally made it work. She's committed to it, and I couldn't be happier to work for somebody like that.
Some great insights, some great details from Slippery Rock University Athletic Director Roberta Page on the wrestling team being revived at SRU, and, of course, women's flag football coming down the pike. It's going to be added. We appreciate your time, Roberta. Thank you so much for your time today.
And I appreciate you reaching out and letting me tell the story.
Thank you, Roberta. Talk to you later.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You too.
We got a switch coming up for our listeners, viewers here. So, if you remember the first year of the Ion Sports podcast, I was respectable in trivia. I believe I had a 21-18 record. Mm-hmm. So far this year, I am 3-11. So due to my immense ineptitude when it comes to trivia, we are switching. Now, I am asking Brendan the questions, and I will be asking also you guys' thoughts on the Beyond Butler segment, which is coming up in a few minutes here. But your first question, are you ready?
Sure.
All right.
So much more nonchalant than you.
The Steelers played 31 seasons at Three Rivers Stadium, 1970 through 2000. What opposing player had the record for most receiving yards in one game at Three Rivers Stadium? And this is going to be a rule every week. If you want a hint, I'll give you one hint.
One hint.
I'm not going to say it. This would be. I have an answer that would be hysterical if Derek asked this question.
Hysterical.
If this was the answer to this question.
Well,
I answer with a Ravens
let's see
player.
what Brendan does.
Wait, the Ravens played there a few times, right? Like 3 times.
Who?
Yeah, like
the Ravens. Like they played
Never
like
more.
98
Never more.
through 99.
This guy had 6 catches for 258 yards and 3 touchdowns.
You need some time.
Do you need some time? Because we got the Beyond Butler
Well,
segment.
I don't think time will do me much good. I'll take one hint.
He played. This game happened in your lifetime, so that really narrows it down.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
okay.
were born in
This is a little
98. Steelers last year at Three Rivers was 2000. So.
Wow, dude. He gave you a good solid. So when you were a wee lad, you were like,
You can take time to think about it if you want.
I'll take some time to think about it.
All right.
okay.
So this won't spoil it. My thought was, for a moment, Derek would be incredibly funny and cruel if he picked a question that the answer was Jerry Rice.
It could be.
I just thought that. I was like, that would be fantastic.
I almost feel like for Beyond Butler, Derek,
Yes. Got like the Rocky thing.
You got to give the same monologue I do. You know it?
welcome to Beyond Butler,
Welcome to Beyond Butler, where we discuss something
outside of Butler County,
outside of Butler County,
whether that be collegiate or professional.
whether that be collegiate or professional. Do I have to do that again?
I appreciate you. No, let's keep it like that. That's
Okay.
funny.
All right. So the college football playoff brackets came out Sunday. Of course, Indiana, the number 1 team in the country after beating Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game on Saturday. Ohio State's number 2. Number 3 is... Who is number 3? Georgia.
Georgia.
And Texas Tech's number 4. At the very bottom of that list, the last 2 teams that got in were Tulane and James Madison. So you got Tulane and James Madison in. Notre Dame's out. And did you see Notre Dame also in a form of protest? They said we're also not going to a bowl.
They're being a bunch of whiners.
They're not going to a bowl. So what are your thoughts? And also, I think the big, even more than Tulane and James Madison, I think Notre Dame is most ticked off over the fact that they were actually ranked higher than Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And Miami got in, and Notre Dame got left out. So what are your thoughts?
So there was also the matchup around the season where Miami beat Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So Notre Dame is mad that Tulane, you can argue about Tulane and James Madison. I personally, they won their conferences. They play in a conference, and they went through those schedules, and they won their conference. Notre Dame has a partnership where it doesn't want to be in the ACC, but it plays ACC teams.
Mm-hmm.
And the ACC is the 4th most powerful Power 4 conference. They're like the least powerful conference in that grouping.
You put them behind Big 12?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think Texas Tech would wipe the floor with Notre Dame, especially with what they did against BYU when I watched that game. If Notre Dame has a problem with it, they need to stop. I thought about this when I went out, or we stopped in South Bend on the way back from Chicago. It's this school in the middle of nowhere that is as powerful as it is because in the 1920s and 30s, it was beating everyone around it, like Navy and teams like that.
Well, back then Navy was really good, really good.
And Navy's still on a team that plays each year. But I think that if it has a problem with it, go join a conference, and there's an automatic bid if you want to prove to the country that you should be in. 7 SEC teams is kind of wild.
Yeah.
For 12 team,
especially because this was not a good SEC year.
Yeah, but I don't know. My thing with it is stop acting all high and mighty, and I know we probably have listeners who are probably Notre Dame fans.
Oh, there's people out there.
Go jump in a conference and prove yourself within a conference and stop being the special kid.
So
the special.
Okay, I didn't mean it like that.
The one who's handed everything. First, last child syndrome.
Oh my
I'm trying
God.
to protect him.
Oh
I'm trying.
My God, that was not what
Should
I
just let
meant.
that sit.
Poor choice of words.
You've clarified.
Man.
Thank you for
Jake.
So my viewpoint is going to be skewed by the fact that I listen to the Lebitard show religiously, and they're a Miami-based show, and so all I've gotten is their propaganda, and admittedly, it's propaganda. But I don't follow enough college football week to week to really have any stake in this. I just kind of root for chaos, and we got chaos on Sunday. That was fun for me. Miami pushed hard in the last 2 weeks. Its coaching staff, the ACC commissioner, eventually Jim Phillips, and a lot of media around Miami of hey, if you slot Notre Dame and Miami together and all season you keep talking about how head-to-head matters, you can't put Miami behind Notre Dame because we already know what the outcome of that game was the first time. I'm not saying that would be the same thing the second time around, but still, head-to-head result, Miami's 1-0 in that game. The one that is most bizarre to me is Alabama not budging. And they got plastered on Saturday. I know it was only 28-7.
They had negative rushing yards.
They're only in because it's Bama, to me, is what it feels like. They historically, someone was doing the math on this. Historically, a Power 4 conference championship game loser slides down about 2 spots, 2.5 or so. Alabama didn't budge. It's the first time that a team did that, I believe, that they did not move even 1 spot. They should, in my opinion, they should have moved down below Notre Dame because I do think Notre Dame is one of the 12 best teams. Alabama has not looked, from everything that I hear and read, all that great this year. They're definitely not the Alabama of old. I would have put Notre Dame in over Alabama, or at least bump Alabama out and Notre Dame at 12 or something, whatever.
Another thing that I heard being discussed on the reveal show on Sunday, which was on right before the Steeler game, was how much should a team be punished for qualifying for but then losing a conference championship.
It also depends how bad you lose that conference championship game. Ohio State, they lose by 3, and that was the first time Bailey's heard me yell at the TV about a football game. I was not happy. Just at the end of that game, they missed a field goal. Jaden Fielding has missed a lot of big field goals for Ohio State. 2 against Michigan last year, which ended up being one of the worst days of my life, obviously. But
only for them to win the national championship 2 months later. Let us remind everyone.
13-10, Ohio State didn't really get punished. They're still a 2 seed. The committee saw that they still think that they're a top 2 team in the nation. Looking at the bracket there, obviously Indiana has the easier draw out of whoever wins out of Alabama and Oklahoma, who both teams that struggled at points this year. And if, as an Ohio State fan, the 3 teams that were in consideration for those slots, if I would have been most worried about playing Notre Dame, and Miami probably would have been the team I would have been the least worried about. Texas A&M is a good team. They went down to South Carolina earlier this year. They came back, I think it was like a 4-touchdown lead that South Carolina gave up, but it's good for me Notre Dame didn't make it in. I didn't want to see them, especially Jeremiah Love, who is probably the first running back to go off the board in this next draft, and we've seen him play before. So, yeah.
I either knew about this last year and forgot, or this is the first time I'm hearing about it, but apparently this has been a rule for a little bit. When the CFP expanded to 12 going into this year, apparently there's a rule in the book that if Notre Dame misses the playoff when it should have been ranked, I guess, or should have potentially been in the conversation, the next year, if it's ranked top 12, it must be in.
Who came up with that rule?
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Notre Dame.
But does college football have to go with whatever Notre Dame says?
Well, that's apparently the agreement with the CFP, because it's all run by the conferences, and it makes Notre Dame it makes Notre Dame the super powerful conference, the super powerful team, because it acts as its own conference. They are part of these discussions where put an Alabama AD in these conversations. Put Penn State's AD in these conversations. They're not allowed to. That's why they have these conference commissioners. But the Notre Dame AD is Notre Dame's conference director, and so they get to advocate for themselves. And this is part of the deal.
Ari Wasserman, who works for On3, tweeted earlier, and I have his tweet notifications on, that someone should have asked, I guess, Notre Dame's athletic director or someone powerful at Notre Dame had a news conference today, and he was talking about how it was disappointing with what happened with the ACC, and now they're going to explore their avenues possibly. And he's like, I wanted someone to ask, should the ACC be in like more favorite for its own teams or for you, who's not even in the conference, and like put that athletic director in like a corner and be like, you either have to say you care more about Notre Dame, who we're not ACC, we don't wear ACC on our jerseys.
Although almost every other Notre Dame sport plays in the ACC. It's an actual
true.
ACC member. But it's just football only.
Yeah.
It's also, I think we're going to get to a point in which there's no more bowl games outside of college football playoff. Maybe like 2 or 3. But we're not going to have like the 30-something games. I think we're going to start to see this really winnow down. But I do think it's kind of a bad look of like taking my ball and going home when Notre Dame is like, yeah, immediately after they're just like, we're not playing in a bowl game. Don't invite us.
Like, I wish one of them would have invited them still. Just like, hey, you sure?
Like, I get it. Most of the players that are going to get drafted this year aren't going to play because they have nothing to legitimately play for now. And I understand that, but the school shouldn't just opt out immediately.
Are you disappointed Pitt and Penn State aren't at the Pinstripe Bowl?
Against each other, no. Pitt's playing East Carolina.
Yeah, which is a bit of a
Penn State's playing
uninspired.
Clemson.
I don't think many people. Nick, one of my best friends, he went to Pitt, so he is actually going to go to Annapolis for that game when we cover Cleveland next day. So he's going to have all the way to Maryland, all the way back, and then to Cleveland. So, but that's not a game I would travel to just for fun.
How many I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
How many conferences are there in college football? I mean, I'm talking everything from the Sun Belt to the Big Ten. How many conferences are there?
10 in FCS.
9 in FBS.
Okay. There's been
it's 10. It's 10, yeah, because Pac-12 still is coming back.
Yeah.
They're part of the group of 6 now. It used to be Power 5 and Group of 5. Now it's
you play college ball 26 like I do. There's only 2 teams in the Pac-12, and it's Oregon State and Washington State.
Yeah, I know. I mentioned about JMU and Tulane winning their conference, and they're in the bracket. Every team joins a conference. Mm-hmm. Every team, including Notre Dame. The conference champion from every conference, just like basketball, the conference champion goes, and they've talked about expanding the playoff. Right now it's 12 teams. I've heard them talk about 16, 24, whatever. The conference champion goes, no matter what conference you play in. If you win, you go, and then have like four to 8 at-large teams, depending on how many teams you want to take, 16 or 24. So then that way, if you have an incredibly tough conference like the Big Ten this year, Indiana and Ohio State would both go. Mm-hmm. But the conference champion, just like basketball, the conference champion should go. I think they probably have to expand it to at least 16 teams to do that. At least 16.
What they're worried about was if they left Alabama out, the SEC would say, you know what, we're done with conference championships. And then everyone says, you know what, we're also done with conference championships. And it goes back to what it was like before the conference championship games. Like, that it's just the rankings. And I don't know.
I'm going to be really out there with it. I know I'm not the only one who said something like this, but I am increasingly just to the point of separate major college football at the FBS level and like the Power 4 level specifically out into just basically minor league football. You can have them all be still the Alabama Crimson Tide, have them loosely connected to their school. But at this point, what are we doing with like the NCAA? Like it's increasingly frayed. And I just say just make it its own thing.
You mean loosely connected, meaning that a player, the quarterback for Alabama doesn't actually have to be enrolled at Alabama?
I don't even know. Yeah, maybe. Just make it like...
There's conversations like that have been happening.
Well, I mean, similar to how you can get drafted out of high school to play baseball and hockey and stuff like that. So, like, make a minor league football.
That's where we're headed, and that's not a good direction.
It's the one other thing I want to mention we didn't talk about is Penn State has a head coach now. Brendan, your thoughts as...
Penn State fan.
He's nothing special, I don't think. So,
ooh, shots already fired. It's been 2 days.
What did Ryan Day do before he became head coach at Ohio State?
He was the Philadelphia Eagles quarterbacks coach.
Whoa!
Whoa!
And the San Francisco.
Whoa! Man, I gotta take a shower after that. So who was the quarterback when he was the quarterback coach there?
Oh, that's a good question.
Michael Vick.
Carson Wentz.
It would have been when Chip Kelly was there.
Oh.
He was a Chip
Ouch.
Kelly guy.
Oh.
Hired in 2025. He was only there for 1 year. So let's see. Eagle. Yes, that would have been a Michael Vick year. I try to forget these. I know.
You guys are taking forever.
Oh man, it is 4:40.
We had a great conversation with
You sure did.
Slippery Rocks, Roberta Page.
Someone was also doing this into the microphone. Derek. It drives me crazy.
Hey,
Like a pool of water in his mouth.
Say that again.
It's like a pool of water in his mouth at all times.
Sam Bradford was a quarterback.
Oklahoma legend.
Luckily for you, noted Penn State fan, Ohio State and Penn State don't play for a few years unless Penn State miraculously makes the Big Ten championship game. So,
Which would be funny.
Which they did under James Franklin. So we'll see if this new coach can rise to the
did
level.
you see their recruiting class was below Harvard's on early signing day?
Okay, let them play next August. See who wins that.
Okay. Here we go.
Do it. Go.
The Eagles quarterbacks in 2015 were Sam Bradford, Thad Lewis, who I've completely forgotten about, and here's the best one, Mark Sanchez.
Mark Sanchez, butt fumble.
I think Mark
What a
Sanchez should be
team.
more remembered for stabbing a man now. For getting stabbed.
It is time for you to miss the trivia question.
Well, you know what, you guys, you know what?
What?
Well, you're
Fight us, Laura.
You're going like this forever, and then you're like, "What are you doing? Where's the music at?"
Did we yell at you? I don't remember yelling at you. I can yell at you. Do you want us to yell at you?
What opposing player had the most receiving yards in one game at Three Rivers Stadium, and it happened in your lifetime?
Carl Pickens.
Do you remember a receiver by the nickname The Missile?
Regib Ismail.
Yeah.
No, he was the Rocket.
Oh,
I'm blanking on who it was.
Oh,
I remember the
no.
nickname The Missile.
This was his younger brother, Qadri Ismail. 0-1, soon to be 0-10. Bam!
I think he just wants revenge.
Absolutely. He asked me a receiving question where Tom Brady was the answer. You're going down.
it's okay because
You're going down, and it's not to
it doesn't
Chinatown.
ruin my day whenever.
Oh, he ruined my day.
That
I
Jerry
mean,
Rice one
seriously.
ruined his week. He's still smarting about that. That's why I thought it would have been really funny if it was Jerry Rice as the answer.
All right. We got to speed things up here.
Yeah, speed it up.
NFL. We just talked about college football and all its glory. Thoughts on the NFL with 4 weeks left in the regular season, Brendan?
We're going to get an AFC playoffs without Patrick Mahomes, without Lamar Jackson, and without Joe Burrow. The fact that the Steelers won yesterday or Sunday, man. The fact that they won Sunday really sets them up. This team has been so up and down. Really sets them up. This is a conference that I think is still up for grabs. The Colts, who are now on the outside looking in, they signed a quarterback, I think, about as old as you. So
Who's that?
Phillip Rivers. That's where he went. I saw some notifications on my phone. Wow. Okay. He signed to the practice squad. There's the headline.
Can he play up to the level that Daniel Jones was playing at? Because Daniel Jones was having a great year.
That's bad for him. Like that would be a crusher. Imagine like
Achilles tear,
being close to winning like a journalism award and just having a hammer break your hand.
What is it now?
Jake, your Eagles are on fire.
Yeah, they're dead to me. That is just, it's one thing after another. I'm so frustrated with this, and it comes across like, and you guys have made fun of me for like, well, you won the Super Bowl last year, you shouldn't be complaining. I know that,
but you can't get any better than that. There's no next level. It's Super Bowl. It's the summit of football.
Other than just becoming a dynasty, which like the fact that I can even think about that is remarkable.
You got beat by Sully from Monsters Inc.
We got beat by Sully. Did you see that interception fumble broke that graphic?
The ball just sat there. Like the ball is still on the ground.
It's so great. This team is infuriating. Do they egg Jalen Hurts' apartment now? Like that feels like
I think
the
Jalen
next
Hurts will
thing
come out and beat
do.
him up. So I don't think Kevin Vitullo is as physically menacing as Jalen Hurts is.
This is probably true. That's an infuriating game. Derek made the joke earlier today off show that he left the office before the end of the game just so he could get away from me potentially burning everything to the ground.
I watched half that game, so
I only watched a couple actual minutes of football, but like we had the TV on and I was listening to it a little bit, and this team's not. If they make the playoffs at this rate, they're going to be one and done, and they need I'm tired of hearing we need to work on this offense. It is week 13. A team knows their identity by this point. There's no excuses for not knowing your identity at this point other than incompetence.
The Steelers rail on the same thing, and that's execution.
Yeah.
So as a Steeler fan, the Steelers beat the Ravens. Brendan, you were there.
Nevermore.
In Baltimore on Sunday.
That's never not going to make me giggle.
They have not won back-to-back games since late September, early October.
Steelers haven't.
Right. So I want to see them get some consistency. Let's get on a little bit of a roll. This is December. This time next month, we're going to be talking NFL playoffs.
They need to get it together.
They got the
room. Go ahead.
They got the Dolphins, the Lions, the Browns, the Ravens. Let's find some
Nevermore.
Fudging consistency.
The locker room after a win is much more fun than the locker room after a loss. It was funny because DK talked to the podium after, and he seemed okay. And then I wake up on yesterday and find out that he stayed in Baltimore overnight and went to the hospital.
With what?
He got hit in the abdomen really hard during the game. I thought it would have been like food poisoning or something. I talked to him. Straight from the source, he's good. So he'll probably be playing on Monday.
Do you have his phone number?
He texted me while I was doing this.
Stop it. What? Okay, so why can't he talk to us?
Interview.
Come on, Brendan.
It would be pretty cool.
Listen, if you get him on, Chipotle lunch on me.
I could get a Chipotle dinner and Chipotle lunch.
Yeah.
Listen,
there you go.
And I'm going to buy one of those meal kit things so you can make as much as you want. You know what I mean? You tell me you want chicken or steak. Chicken or steak.
Hey, if you get him on, I'll give you a trivia question you cannot miss. How many varsity receptions did you have in your career?
Do it.
Hey,
Hayes for horses, straws cheaper.
Hey, we got 1 week left before we're out for the year.
Yeah, guys, one more episode before goodbye 2025.
Next week, soccer and volleyball all-stars. Come on down. We encourage you to subscribe to the Butler Eagle YouTube channel and Apple or Spotify podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Alter Eagle Podcast and at Butler Eagle News. Goodbye.